very candid with you and tell you that they do not want me to talk about alien life. And that's the reason why. But I can give you the message that Jeshua wrote to me. And I know I probably lost an awful lot of you, but it's just the way it is. That's the way you can get the mysteries of the spirit world. I'm going to make this transition because for the last 15 minutes, last 25 minutes, Mariana and I have been trying to come on, and it wouldn't work. And they told me not to give up. Spirit told me not to give up. So I said, is it because I was going to talk about my experience I had with the aliens and the spacecraft? And they said yes. And they said, can I tell the message of Jeshua? So I'm going to tell the message. I'm going to share with you the message Jeshua gave me. And this is going to be a very short show because I don't have anything else planned, because I thought I was going to tell you the story, which is about an hour story about the alien experiences. But let me make this transition right now about the message from Jeshua. I had asked Jeshua, I want to know what the concept of God was. And this is his answer to me. I'm going to speak it. I'm going to do it twice, since we got the extra time. I'll do it the first time like I'm reading it to you. The second time I'm going to say it really slow so we can dissect it. And this is pretty profound. Let me just get a drink of water right now first. This is a whatever. Chocolate coconut milk. Okay. Nick, you want to know what I mean by God the Father. You want to know what I mean by unification with God. And who is God? And which God are we talking about? What can I say that will explain the many facets of the Creator we call God? What can I say that will explain the facets of your Creator and creation that is in totality God? God of oneness, the energy system that binds your Creator and creation into a single unit, which means that God is within every one of you, and God is in a fence post. God is the soil of the earth, the clay under the earth, the center of the earth, the moon, the stars. All this is the Creator and creation as a unit, as a wholeness, as a oneness. Within this totality, within this oneness, there is an individualization that becomes, as a generic term, the soul. The effect, as well as the experience of individualization, is holographic. Because of the holographic effect, God exists within, and God also exists without. Because, Nick, each one of you, the entire humanity, has that potential and can do the same. The question is whether or not you are ready to seek this, whether or not you are ready to listen, whether or not you are determined to open that communication channel and speak, because there are layers there. Nick, your soul is God. Everyone's soul is God. God is more than their souls, but God is your soul. And within your soul is ever the spark of God. And if and when you are ready, you can listen. The trick is that you are not separate from God. I have spoken to you that you are not separate from one another. You exist in oneness. And the Creator and in creation exists in oneness. And the purpose of all this is both experience and reunification. Reunification with your Creator and creation, being wiser than when you first individualize as a soul. And that reunification begins when you acknowledge that you are Creator of your own lives, of the world you live in, because you are. To bring the concept of you, God and reunification closer to home. Now this is what Jeshua wrote. Now this isn't me talking. This is what Jeshua wrote. To bring the concept of you, God and reunification, closer to home, let us use a raindrop. A single raindrop. And this raindrop says, I am water. This raindrop may soak into the earth and say, I am water. And this raindrop may be absorbed into an aquifer and say, I am water. Aquifer to stream, stream to river, river to ocean. Or maybe stream to lake. At each and every point in the journey, the raindrop says, I am water. But look at the reunification steps along the way. The single raindrop joined other raindrops, each of them saying truthfully, I am water. And they become a moving stream, joining yet other raindrops, each saying, I am water. And they end up in a lake, each raindrop, and the lake itself all saying, I am water. And they recycle into the clouds and come down as rain again, and this time the stream goes into a river that leads to the ocean, and each step along the way there's reunification. And each step of the way they all say, I am water. Each reunification is an expansion of water. Work on that image, Nick. To return to something personal, who is this God you pray to? Who is this God you speak to with? Who is this God that you converse with? Who's the God that I speak of when I say we masters are not yet reunited with God? We've not reached that level of ascension. Who is that God? Is that the same God, that same aspect of God who spoke with you, who could speak with you, who you pray to, who I work with when I speak of God's plan? Well, if God is all creator as well as creation, and we are all creators as well as creation, then there's already a beginning of unification. The purpose is ultimate, total reunification, which means you're coming at one with God again, which I've talked about many times, right? Okay, let me continue. Jeshua goes on to say, when you pray, you're tapping into the Creator that is within you. And yet there's more than within you, because there is a totality, a oneness. It is a raindrop speaking to the lake. It is a raindrop speaking to the stream and the ocean and the river. And each raindrop, each stream, each lake, each ocean says truthfully, I am water. God is and will be as close to you as you allow, and will speak to you as you are willing to hear. Let this sink in. Let it become a part of you. That God is the creator and creation, to extents that go beyond the physical, to extents that go way beyond the galaxy. And God is that creator and creation within the seat of your heart, within your soul. God is the energy network of oneness that cannot be destroyed. Humanity living in harmony with nature, with the planet, Earth, with the environment, creating that harmony that is living with God. If you can speak to animals, and if you can speak to plants, and there are those who use it, what are called psychic powers, and can open those communication channels, you are speaking with God, an aspect of God, part of God. That is one of God's voices. Let me put it this way. One of God's voices through very thick filters. And you can speak with the God within. And is God your soul? Yes. Is the totality of God your soul? No. So if you're comfortable communicating with your soul, rather than a higher level of unity, which might be called God or the Creator, to speak with your soul. If you, through your heart, wish to speak with God, that is more than your soul. This is your choice. But if you wish to speak with God, who is your soul, and or God, who is more than your soul, then you must be open enough to hear, and you must be wise enough to listen. Imagine being an electron circling a nucleus in an atom in a cell within your body. Let us pick a cell in the pancreas of your body. You are an electron circling a nucleus that is part of a cell that resides in the pancreas of your body. And that electron wishes to speak to the Creator, to creation. The single electron reaches high enough, broadly enough to speak with your body, so you carry on an intellectual conversation with the electron, and you explain to this electron that, yes, indeed, it is part of you. See, this is you talking to God. You need it there, where it is, functioning, doing its thing, and it can contribute to health or it can contribute to illness. Now, I have to tell you, this is really heavy, and I had to read it several times to understand it totally. And I'm going to go over it again with you. We're going to dissect one paragraph at a time. But this electron within the cell, within the pancreas, within your body, does not understand that there's a whole world beyond your body, and beyond this world there's more. That may give you an idea, a concept to work on, to understand the totality of your Creator and creation. So when I say the soul's purpose is reunification with the totality of your Creator and creation, humanity starts off as electrons. And the ultimate goal is the total reunification with all levels of the cosmos. Every part, every person is energy. And all this energy is networked into one and oneness. When I speak of God and my commitment to God and my commitment to God's plan, is this the same God? Yes. Is this a different God? Yes. Is there a different aspect of the same God? Yes. Don't you see? You are creators. You are creation. You are energy. And you have free will. Speak to God. Speak to God and create wisely. Jeshua. Now, some of you are probably shaking your head and saying, what did I just hear? Or where were all these analogies coming from? Or was it really Jeshua? I promise you it was. I promise you, with everything sacred to me, this message came from Jeshua. I'm going to read it again. We're going to stop and take it one paragraph at a time. And I'm going to respond after each paragraph. Nick, you want to know what I mean by God the Father. You want to know what I mean by unification with God. And who is God and which God are we talking about? When he says unification, meaning how do you become one with God? Unification, being at one with. So he's saying you want to know how do you become one with God. Because remember, my pyramid, we are ascending to in order to become one with God. So he's saying you want to know how you become one with God. So then he goes on to say, what can I say that will explain the many facets of the Creator we call God? What can I say that will explain the facets of your Creator and creation? That is in totality God, God of oneness. The energy system that binds your Creator and creation to a single unit, which means that God is within each one of you. And God is also on a fence post. So in other words, God is everywhere. How many times have you say that God is inside of us? We are a part of God, God is a part of us. And Jeshua was saying that God is also a fence post, that God is in everything, that it's all oneness. Let me continue to the next paragraph. God is the soil of the earth, the clay under the earth, the center of the earth, the moon, the stars. All this is creation as a unit, as a wholeness, as a oneness. And yet, as I've explained, within this totality, within this oneness, there is an individualization, meaning like a unifying, that becomes, as a generic term, the soul. There is an individualization that becomes individualization, meaning that we're all part of God, God is all part of us, and there are thousands and millions of our souls, even though each one of them is individual, but they're all part of God. And the next sentence says, the effect as well as the experience of individualization is holographic. Holographic. I don't know what that word means, holographic. I guess it's illusionary, meaning that I don't know what it means. I do not know what the word holographic means. Some of you do know what a holograph is. I don't know what a holograph is. I thought it was something you see through an image. I don't know. Goes on to say, next paragraph, because of the holographic effect, God exists within. And God exists also without. because your creation is, and big capital S is. Nick, each of you, the entire of humanity, has that potential and can do the same. Can do what? The same. Touch the holographic God that is and has always been within your being. Saying that you can touch the holographic God that is and has always been within you. Each of you, the entire humanitarian, has the potential and can do the same. The question is whether you or not you're ready to seek this, whether or not you're ready to listen, whether or not you're determined to open that communication channel and speak. Because there are layers there. Your soul is God, and God is your soul. God's more than your soul, but God is your soul. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory what he's saying. God is your soul, and your soul is God. Meaning your soul is at one with God, and God is at one with your soul. And within your soul is the spark of God. Well, we already know that, don't we? That we have God's Spirit inside of us, the spark. And if and when you are ready, you can listen. The trick is that you are not, these are italics. The trick is that you are not separate from God. He emphasized that you and God are one. I'm getting a lot of energy around me right now, and I'm having no trouble sitting still. I've spoken that you're not separate from one another. You exist in oneness. Creator, creation exist in oneness. And the purpose of all this is both experience and reunification. Again, reunification means uniting again. Uniting with your created creation. I'm changing the word reunification to uniting. I hope Jeshua doesn't mind. I'm changing this word. Being wiser than you first individualized as a soul, meaning when you first became a soul. And that uniting begins when you acknowledge that you are creator of your own lives, of the world you live in, because you are. How many times have I said you create your own life? You are the producer, the director, the choreographer, and the star, and he's saying the same thing. Begins when you acknowledge that you are creator of your own life. Next paragraph. To bring the concepts to view, God and unifying, coming closer to home, let us take a raindrop, a single raindrop. And this raindrop says, I am water. Now you are that raindrop. He's talking about your soul. Your soul says, I am water. You are that raindrop. This raindrop may soak into the earth and say, I am water. And this raindrop may be absorbed into an aquifer and say, I am water. Aquifer is a stream. See, the soul now is being joined by other souls. Stream to river, it's getting bigger and bigger. River to ocean, now we're talking about the planet. Or may stream to a lake. And each and every point of the journey, the raindrop says, I am water. But look at the unifying, again, I'm changing the word reunification. Say, look at the unifying steps along the way. Meaning that you are now with other souls. You're not by yourself anymore. You started as a raindrop, and now you went into a river and then the ocean, and now you reunified. All the other souls were all part of God. The single raindrop joined other raindrops, each of them saying truthfully, I am water, and they became a moving stream, joining yet other raindrops, each saying, I am water. And they end up at a lake, each raindrop in the lake itself all saying, I am water, which is what I just said. And they recycle into the clouds and come down as rain again. And this time the stream goes into a river that leads to the ocean, and each step along the way there's reunification, and each step along the way they say, I am water. We talk about reincarnation. We're going a cycle. The cycle that we go through. The cycle that we're born by ourselves. Then we have our family around us. Then we have a town and city around us. And then we have the country around us. And then around the world. And then we go make a transition of our soul, which means go back up into the heavens. He's saying He's saying going back up to the sky, and then we start all over again, coming back down. He's talking about reincarnation. I just figured out. Yeah. This raindrop may speak to you again. The raindrop may soak into the earth, which means you're born, and say, I am water. And this raindrop may be absorbed into an aquifer, means it's cleansed, and say, I am water. And then the aquifer goes into a stream, which means now it's with the other members' souls who are your family. The stream goes into a river. Now you're in school, in high school, in college, you're meeting more and more. Then the river goes to an ocean. And now you're part of the planet. All right? So at each and every point in the journey, the raindrop says, I am water. You're still an individual. But look at the unification that stuff takes along the way. And this single drop of rain joined other raindrops, means you've got a larger family, each of them saying truthfully, I am water, each one saying, I'm my own soul, and they become a moving stream, and yet like other raindrops, he's saying, I am water, and then he ends up in a lake, and raindrop in the lake itself saying, I am water. Yes. And they recycle into the clouds, meaning now, how do they recycle? You made a transition of soul. And come down as rain again, meaning you're reborn again. And this time the stream goes into the river that leads to the ocean, and each step along the way there's reunification, and each step along the way they all say, I am water. I now understood that. I did not understand it until I just read that for the 10th time. They're talking about reincarnation and going from being born into a larger body of water, and then to a lake, and then to the ocean, and then all of a sudden going back again to the clouds, which means that you had a transition of soul, and the whole process starts over again. Brilliant. Not me. Brilliant way to word things. It took me 10 times to read it, understand that what was being said. Each reunification is the expansion of water. Work on that image. To return to something personal, who is this God you pray to? Who's this God you speak with? Who's this God, Nick, you converse with? Who's the God that I speak with? Or when I say masters are not yet reunited with God, we may not have reached that level of ascension. Who is that God? He's saying that even the masters might only be on the 999th step of their pyramid until they become at one with God, and that might take the 1,000th step. Is that the same God, the same aspect of God, who spoke with you, who could speak with you, who you can pray to, who I work with when I speak of God's plan? Well, if God is all of creation, and we're all created creation, there's already a beginning of the reunification, of becoming at one with Him. The purpose is ultimate, total reunification, meaning total being at one with God, to such a point that you don't have to come back again, because you now have been permanently, okay. When you pray, you're tapping into the Creator that is within you. And yet, it is more than within you, because there is a totality, a oneness. It is the raindrop speaking to the lake. It is the soul speaking to all the other souls. It's the raindrop speaking to the stream. It's the soul speaking to all the other souls, a larger group. And the ocean and the river, it is the soul speaking to even multitudes. And each raindrop, each soul, each stream, each grouping, each lake, each ocean says truthfully, I am water. I got to ground myself right now. Wait a minute. God is and will be as close to you as you allow, and will speak to you as you are willing to hear. Let this sink in. Let it become part of you. That God is the creator, and creation to extents that go beyond the physical, to extents that go way beyond the galaxy, and God is the creator and creation within the seat of your heart, within your soul. God is the energy network and oneness that cannot be destroyed. Humanity living in harmony with nature, with the planet Earth, with the environment, creating that harmony that is living with God. I don't know if there's anything for me to interpret there. It's pretty straightforward. I am having some difficulties right now. Okay? In my chakras. They're wide open. If you could speak to animals, and if you can speak to plants, and there are those who use what are called psychic powers, who can, upon those open those communication channels, you are speaking with God, meaning they're all part of God, an aspect of God, part of God. That is one of God's voices. Let us put that away. One of God's voices through very thick filters. And you can speak with the God within. And is God your soul? Yes. Is the totality of God your soul? No. So if you're comfortable communicating with your soul, rather than a higher level of unity, which might be called God or the Creator, then speak with your soul. If you, through your heart, wish to speak with God that is more than your soul, this is your choice. But if you wish to speak with God, who is your soul, and or God who is more than your soul, then you must be open enough to hear, and you must be wise enough to listen. Imagine being an electron circling a nucleus in an atom and a cell within your body. Now the universe is your body, okay? And you are a little electron. Let us pick a cell in the pancreas of your body. Your soul is inside the pancreas. You are an electron circling the nucleus that's part of a cell that resides in the pancreas of your body. And that electron, meaning your soul, wishes to speak to the Creator, to creation, wants to speak to God. That single electron reaches high enough, broadly enough to speak with your body, so you carry on that's the universe, carry on intellectual conversation with this electron, your soul, and you explain to this electron that yes, indeed, it is part of you. You need it there where it is functioning, doing its thing, and it can contribute to health or it can contribute to illness. But this electron within the cell, within the pancreas, within your body, does not understand there's a whole world beyond your body. See, because sometimes we, like an atheist, would think they're all by themselves. They wouldn't think of the spiritual world, wouldn't know there's a God. A whole world beyond your body, and beyond this world there's even more. That may give you an idea, a concept to work on to understand the totality of the Creator, your Creator, and creation. So when I say the soul's purpose is reunification, meaning unifying with totality of God, being one with God and creation, humanity starts off as an electron. And the ultimate goal is total reunification with all levels of the cosmos. All, every part, every person is energy. And all this energy is networked into one and oneness. When I speak of God, my commitment to God's plan, is this the same God? Yes. Is this a different God? Yes. Is it a different aspect of the same God? Yes. You are creators, you are creation, you are energy, and you have free will. Speak to God. Speak to God and create wisely. Jeshua. I'm going to put some music on for a minute so I can ground myself.
Let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the heart was deep, baptized in the one, where the long separation and the light is always honoring all our differences and love will set us free. Oh, oh, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you got my soul. I said, oh, you got my soul. I I see the blessings of the past. It's time to requalify. Don't forget, but love and forgive. God knows we got it time. My responsibility to heal the wounds within. Compassion, faith, and hope, and love, and truth will set us free. Oh, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you got my soul. I said, oh, you got my soul. Oh, Lord, I said, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you got my soul. Oh, you got my soul. I said, oh, you got
Wow. Okay, it's 5:43, and we supposed to start the show at 5:44. So one more minute, it'll be 5:44, even though we started the show late. I told you it was going to be a short, slow show. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what you experienced from today. I would like to have someone go into the archive when Mariana puts it. I tried several times to email to Mariana. They wouldn't let me. Spirit would not let me email the Mariana. And I didn't have the time. I didn't want to take the time to type it, but I'm giving you permission, any one of you, when you listen to it on the YouTube archive, that you can go ahead and type this message from Jeshua. It says, on God, from Jeshua, from Master Jeshua. And you can type it and post it on the site. If you want, Mariana, you can even put it on the tab saying Jeshua's explaining God, or something to that effect, or Jeshua on God. I'm going to let you go watch the Academy Awards. It's been a strange, strange day. For half an hour, we couldn't get on. And they finally Spirit told me, we're not letting you on because we don't want you to talk about alien life, which I was going to talk about. And I said, okay, I promise I will not talk about alien life. I promise. And then we got on. And at that point, the show, we'd already 20, 25 minutes had gone by. So it is what it is. Enjoy the Academy Awards. I'm going to say goodbye to you right now. I'd like to get your comments. I know it's been a strange day. I know it's been a really strange hour. I know it. But I'd like to get your comments on it nevertheless, because it is what it is. So I will say to you right now, as my computer always says,
goodbye.